In this video, I will be demonstrating how to install OpenStack with Heat and how to use Heat to bring up a simple application. Most of the material for this presentation is available on this wiki page. Let's start by cloning the Heat repo. In order to use Heat, we need to first install an OpenStack environment. In the Heat repository, there's actually a script that can help us do that. It's under Tools directory, and it's called OpenStack. And to install the OpenStack environment, you give it the argument install, and you also specify a password for the MySQL user. The installer uses the OpenStack RPMs from Fedora. Once it's finished installing the environment, it actually executes a few tests to verify that it is working correctly. So that's what we see here. If you need to run OpenStack within a virtual machine, you need to modify your Nova configuration file and add a parameter called libvirt_type and set its value to QEMU, and then restart the Nova services. Next, we use Nova Manage to create a guest network. To help with debugging, you might find it helpful to have the OpenStack dashboard up and running. By default, it is not turned on, so we need to set it up manually. To do that, we start the service. And in order for authentication to work correctly, we also need to turn SE Linux off. Or to be more precise, set it into permissive mode. To verify, we're logging into the instance with X forwarding turned on. We then bring up Firefox. By default, the username is admin, and the password is verybadpass. Here we're just quickly going through the different panels in the dashboard, and notice that nothing is running at this moment. To bring up an instance with Heat, you need to use an image. There are some pre-built images that are available on fedorapeople.org. For this demo, we're going to download the Fedora 17 geos. After downloading the geos, we copy it to the var libvirt images directory. We then source the Keystone credentials. It's necessary to use any of the OpenStack CLI. Next, we register the image into Glance. Before running the Heat installer, make sure you have GCC and Python devel packages. Then install Heat using install.sh in the root directory. For Fedora 18, you might run across a conflict in PyParsing. To resolve the conflict, what I've done is simply remove the RPM by using -e -no-deps. Next, I added support for floating IP addresses, but that's optional. Next, we set up the Heat database, and then register Heat with Keystone. We also register our SSH public key with Nova. We then update the heat configuration files to make sure that it has the right bridge IP address. And finally, we can now bring up the heat API and the heat engine. To verify that heat and OpenStack are installed and configured correctly, we'll deploy a stack or template called WordPress single instance. This template brings up a single instance and installs MySQL, Apache, and WordPress. To deploy the template, we use the heat-cfn create command. We can get a list of stacks that are running by using the heat-cfn list command. To look at the events within a single stack, we use the heat-cfn event list command. Here we see that the instance is still coming up or in progress. The heat-cfn describe command can also provide additional information, like the parameter values that were used to create the stack. Right now, the instance is being provisioned, and we can verify that from the OpenStack dashboard. Here you see that the instance is spawning. After a few moments, the instance will come up and the state will change to complete. Although the instance may be up, it may not be fully functional yet. The system still needs to install some additional packages for MySQL, Apache, and WordPress. To see how that's progressing, let's log into the instance and take a look at some log files. This part of the process is taking a long time. Because I'm not using a bare metal server, I'm actually running the OpenStack environment within a VM, and the WordPress instance is running within it. Okay, now we see that WordPress is up and running. Let's go ahead and verify it. We switch to a different terminal window outside of the WordPress instance, and we're running the describe command on WordPress stack. Here we can find the URL to the WordPress site, and we run wget to fetch its contents. And we see that the request is successful. To complete this demo, let's clean up and delete the WordPress stack. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching.